You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Matt Lazowitz, and welcome to this week's episode of Bat Chat with Matt and Will, a Batman ranking podcast, where each week my co-host Will Nevin and I dig into 3 Batman stories, discuss them, and rank them on the big board, thus creating a giant list of Batman stories from best to worst. Will, how's it going?
Oh, it's going, Matt. It's going, as always. One quick film thing before we get to all the big Comic-Con news. Weirdest thing I have seen in a while in development. You familiar with this John Rambo prequel?
No.
Okay. This gets weirder with each sentence. I forget who the star is, not important. Featuring David Harbour, James Franco.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He's coming back, baby. Directed by Sisu Guy.
Huh.
I didn't Mad Lib that thing up either. That thing is real and in development and is coming out next year.
If it weren't for Franco, I'd be much more excited. I'm a little worried about the gleeful murder in a Vietnam setting versus, Nazis.
I mean, that is what you bring in the Sisu Guy for.
Right, exactly. But that would work in the 80s, back when we looked at Vietnam in a much more jingoistic way than we do now.
Maybe I mentioned this on the podcast. I can't remember. But Abby and I were in a hotel a couple of weeks ago, just flipping through the TV, and First Blood was on. I have never seen First Blood, and I didn't watch the whole thing while it was on cable. I had no idea that it was, this is just a guy in the Pacific Northwest and killing crooked cops. Like, I had no idea that was the plot of the first movie.
Yes. It's been a long time since I saw any of the Rambo movies, but...
And Brian Dennehy.
Yes. Always 2 thumbs up there. Random fact. You do know who his daughter is, right?
I do not know.
Commander Shelby.
Oh, well, who knew?
Elizabeth Dennehy.
Yes. Well, there you go, right there.
But yes, Brian Dennehy's daughter played Commander Shelby in The Best of Both Worlds. And the last episode of Picard before she got blowed up real good.
The less said about Picard, the better.
I guess not blowed up, murdered by her. Yeah, moving on. But yes, we are recording on the Sunday of SDCC. And there has been a lot of news. And as we have been discussing on the CXF Slack, once again, when it comes to especially comics news, DC is just leaving Marvel in the dust.
Let's start with what Jim Lee had to say about this being the best year for DC Comics ever.
The Absolute books are doing numbers that we have not seen in 20 plus years.
That is true. I thought, well, one, what kind of metric are you talking about? Are we talking about just like pure sales or pure numbers or just your corporate overlords' expectations of what comics should do?
I think we're talking sales based on the Absolute line, and also the fact that they are kicking Marvel's ass in the sales chart. I mean, DC was over Marvel in market share at the beginning of the New 52 as well, but not with this consistency, and with it not just being speculators, but actually being interest. I think there is a little bit of shifting goalposts because, again, we don't know exactly what they're comparing that to, but there's no doubt that DC is the best-selling comic publisher out there in America right now.
Yeah, no question there.
If I could speak anecdotally, I've got friends who work in various bookshops, like not comic stores, just like bookstores. And DC are selling a lot, not just absolutes, but the compacts in particular. Those are insanely good sellers. It's incredible.
Yeah. let's say hi to friend of the show and Patreon backer, Sam Hopper. How's it going, Sam? You're here. And yes, I get the same from my buddy John, who owns a comic shop.
Mhm.
We see it everywhere. And I love they're going to be doing compact editions of Batman and Superman Adventures on top of the other releases. Like, great. Now we're getting something out there at that price point for kids. I mean, granted, the DC graphic novels for kids are, I think, $12.99. They're not that much more expensive than a compact comic, but still, it's nice that they're diversifying the line.
Well, it's not just that, but now that the compacts have established themselves as a thing that you can find pretty much anywhere, now that you can expand your audience to some young readers. I mean, I like the compact as a whole, but I've had issues with like the variety or lack thereof of some titles. God, Wonder Woman definitely deserves better in the compacts, but still, on the whole,
I'm glad that they continue to expand the line because, and yes, there needs to be more Wonder Woman. Some of the Harley stuff is there's been some weird choices there, like beginnings of runs, but I don't know how many like Harley distinct stories there are. Clearly, there's more than enough Batman out there for anybody.
yes. The Harley, like the Gotham City Sirens one, is a weird one because that's most of Paul Dini's run on that, so it makes sense to collect all of that. But at the same time, I'm not sure where you'd pick because thanks to the new 52, which we will get to later, Harley was a bit of a mess. Even when you had good stories with the status quo and supporting cast, well, you'd have to take a moment to explain why it's like this, and it's like, ugh.
I want more Flash. I wish they would do some of the Wade Flash, because I think the only Flash one they have is the John's Rebirth stuff.
Yep, that's literally the only one, I think.
Yeah, and so I think the Mark Wade's Return of Barry Allen would be a great, because it's 7 or 8 issues, so it's a good sized story, and it's fairly self-contained, and it was the story that sort of reinvigorated Wally West. It's one of, if not my favorite Flash story of all time.
Plus, Wally West is the Flash that a certain generation knows. Even if Barry Allen was on the CW, he was based off of Wally West's characterization, so it's decent.
And I know it's
I was just sighing in frustration. It's fair enough.
And I know it's too early, but we're gonna have to get the Absolute books in compact edition at some point in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
And Gotham Academy at this point should be re-released as a series in compact edition because it's manga sized, it's the age group you're looking for that book. It should be released that way in trade.
And DC is also working on the Infinite Scroll digital versions of so many books, almost like they know what they're doing.
Almost. So the other bit of news that's most exciting for me, and I don't think it's necessarily the most exciting news, but it's the one that got me, is freaking Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez Shadow of the Bat.
Shadow of the Bat, baby. We're back.
This morning.
Absolute Martian Manhunter is my favorite of the Absolute books. And seeing them moving over to do a Bat book, yes, please.
Yes. Have you read Dennis Camp's other work, like 20th Century Men or Assorted Crisis Events?
I've read Assorted Crisis Events. I have purchased recently the 3 trades of his Ultimates that are available, and I'm waiting for the 4th to come out so I can just read the entire series at a go.
Well, 20th Century Men, look it up. It's a one and done trade. Pick it up. It's good. The problem is when I get excited about something, I will talk about it until I spoil every development that happens in it. So I will leave it at that.
I want to say I might have read I read a first issue of his when Dan and I interviewed him. It's been a long time and I'm having a foggy moment.
It all melts together in the ether after so long.
And yes, the Absolute Batman team up is exciting. It's going to be fun. I am very pleased that DC listened to the very logical complaints about DC not having enough black creators or characters and answering it with 3 books. I'm a little worried that there's going to be a flooding the market. People who aren't necessarily comic book people or but for budgetary reasons, all of those, I don't know if all the books are launching the same month. I'm hoping that there's a little bit of a staggering so people can get into the groove of going to or going back to the comic shop. But they're really good creative teams. I'm always glad to see Stephanie Williams on anything. I'm happy to see Morgan Hampton on Steel and Static. Always good to see Static being used.
It's been too long.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed some of the recent stuff. I enjoyed the Elseworlds Static Batman Beyond team up. I've enjoyed when they did the Milestone, the reboot, the Vita Ayala, Nicholas Draper Ivy series that they did. But that is a character who should be out there more, and it's good that there's a new ongoing for Static. And Marvel hasn't announced much anything in the way of comics. I guess a new X title.
Yay!
I'm
a huge X-Men fan, but I weep.
Yeah,
but,
there needs to be a shot in the arm on that line.
But taking things into a more sort of concrete thing rather than just personal opinion on current stories, DC's having great success with the compact line. So at the same time, Marvel decides to release the Charles Soule Daredevil run in compact. Okay, that's great, and that's an affordable way to read it. Wait, how much are these? $22.99? Oh no.
You know, they did some perennials in a similar to a compact, but it's still $14.99.
Yes, the Premier Collection. They're $13.99, and you're lucky to get one release every 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know. Oh, the other book that I was very excited for, and this is a very much a Matt excited for thing, Michael Walsh doing a Jonah Hex series.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, and James Harren on Etrigan. And I think it was earlier today, they didn't give a concrete release date, but before the end of the year, we will officially be getting the Tiny Onion DC Comics crossover, Swamp Thing is Killing the Children, which is the best dad joke title I've heard.
Oh,
Wild.
Swamp Thing does not actually kill children in the book. It is just the name of the book.
Well, we can't have Swamp Thing killing children. No.
Well, you've got to do it for the bit, though.
Yeah, maybe children monsters.
Not the killing, the naming.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. DC loves those pun titles. Lex in the City, Grifter got run over by a reindeer.
Hawktua Girl? Is that a thing?
Not yet.
No.
I think I'm showing my age at how much I love these.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, the looking at those DC solicitations, whoever again does the solicitations is clearly has way too much fun doing the Harley Quinn solicitations because they're always fourth wall breaky. And the issue in the current solicitations is issue 67. So it's just making 6-7 jokes. Be like, hey, I'm cool. I'm with it. Right? That's still a thing.
You know, the kids talk about 6-7, but how many of them have learned about 9/11?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's, oh God. The worst part is that is the kind of thing that a certain spheres of the news, I'm sure, have someone, Alex Jones, somebody like that has said something to that effect, I'm sure.
I will always remember 9/11 because it coincided with the day that we got cable. So,
oh, what a day to get cable! I did talk about the weird 9/11 internet thing that I found some weeks ago, didn't I?
I don't think so.
I had to have. John Wickham's gonna hear this and say, "Oh yeah, you already talked about it." But somehow I stumbled onto Regis and Kelly covering 9/11.
I do not remember this, and there are people who I would not. I don't think that's news coverage I want to.
Well, I mean, okay, so they were doing a show on the day of 9/11. They could not do a show, and they start it very somberly. The audience has no idea. No idea. So it's
Oh,
like you have a live audience reaction to 9/11 with Regis Philbin.
oh, hell's bells, man.
Yeah. Eventually they just cut away to like ABC Central.
Yes, that is probably the way to go on that one.
And as I pulled up a Master of Disguise gift today, that just reminds me of my other 9/11 story of taking a moment of silence on the set of Master of Disguise.
Yeah, this is we're steering out of this skid because wow, I think some of this is going to get edited out because kind
I
of
think
don't want
it'll have to.
yeah, kind of don't want to bring the atmosphere down. Um, but yes.
Well, you say that, but some of the stuff I'm going to cover is going to bring the atmosphere down for completely different reasons.
Oh
So
yeah.
I can only apologize.
I'm not saying this stuff is Wickham-esque, but I mean, if we had a story that was maybe 2 or 3 issues longer, it'd get there.
The fact that all of this is short does help.
Yes.
If we had covered the entire back 8 of Gotham City Sirens, that would have been back 6, I guess. I think the series ended 26 or 28. It's been a long time. Well,
26.
okay, I was right the first time. Good for me. He came to life. Good for him.
I was thinking of more the dregs that Suicide Squad ends up going.
Ooh. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna get there too. But that I don't think could have gotten longer and still qualified. Gotham City Sirens, at least we could have theoretically argued that we carried that through the end of the series. The Suicide Squad one, that's just those 2 issues. There's no way for that to have gotten longer.
What did
Although
we
it
read
felt
today
longer.
anyway?
Yes, that's a good point. We're here because Sam's here to talk about a breakup, which would be sad by default, but also in this case, it is the breakup of Harley Quinn and Joker. So, good for her, even if the comics themselves aren't too great. Our first story of the afternoon is Hell Hath No Fury. This is Gotham City Sirens, numbers 20 to 21. The writer is Peter Calloway, with pencils by Andres Guinaldo and Ramon Box, inks by Lorenzo Ruggiero and Box, colors by J.D. Smith, letters by Dave Sharp, and edited by Mike Martz, Harvey Richards, and Janel Aslan. The cover dates are April to May of 2011. Harley Quinn has finally been pushed too far. She has decided that it's time to finally kill the Joker. She has to pull off an elaborate reverse prison break, breaking into Arkham, to finally face the man who made her Harley Quinn and end him.
Well, it says a lot about DC at the time that when it launched, Gotham City Sirens was very much the fun Batman book. It was very much hijinks and low stakes, as it was just fun. And now, oh dear.
Yeah, Dini left and the book became something very much else. And Peter Calloway does not have a ton of comics credits. He is mostly a TV writer-producer. I mean, he's produced some good TV, but his comics credits are mostly Bat titles around this point, which is telling because this was that period where I think both DC and Marvel were thinking, let's bring in people from TV and other mediums and get them to write comics because that's going to work out real well for everyone. And we got some good Wonder Woman from Alan Heinberg and Young Avengers from Alan Heinberg, and that's about it. And I think Heinberg is even a few years before this. I'm sure there are others. People out there don't at me. I know there are other people who've come from TV to write comics who have produced some good work, and from other media. I mean, Greg Rucka was a novelist before he was a comic book writer.
Right, but we're talking about something very specific, a very narrow subset of writers who were coming on when the comics were already in a grim, gritty, dark place.
Yeah. We are at this point a few months out from the new 52.
Yeah,
Uh,
and in some ways, the fact that they're doing this story feels like, all right, we're not sure how exactly it's going to happen, but we do need to reset the status quo somehow. So this is how we do it. And it's worth pointing out that before this story, the last time the Joker and Harley interacted was Clown at Midnight in the Morrison run, which was a pretty definitive break. And a lot of Gotham City Sirens has been exploring, oh, well, what is Harley without the Joker? And also going into, oh, well, she's also it was introduced, I don't know if it introduced it, but it reintroduced the fact that Harley's family is awful. And even though he was using her, the Joker was one of the few times Harley felt loved and respected, which is, well, if you give a starving man food, then they'll be on you forever, regardless of if you're a good person or not, I suppose. But
the end of this is, I mean, it's bleak.
oh yeah,
Harley coming back to the Joker the way she does is sad. And unfortunately, it is not outside the realm of reality
no, it's not.
of someone returning to an abusive partner who just threw them the scrap of saying, I missed you.
Yes, literally, Joker's only lines in this entire story is, "Hello, Harley, I missed you." And that's all it takes to get Harley to go from wanting to kill him to immediately jumping in his arms and putting the gun down. It's bleak. And it's worth going back a little bit to go into Harley's actual break into Arkham to begin with, because this isn't a fun Harley Quinn at all. It just starts off with distracting the god Adam Hendricks with marbles because she knows as from her time as a doctor that was the perfect distraction for him, and then immediately kills him in an explosion. Now, Adam Hendricks is no cop. He's an innocent person, and she's just killed him. Like, Harley is crossing lines here.
It's strange that so many people with a questionable psychological profile would get hired at Arkham.
Speaking
Yeah.
of people with a questionable psychological profile, Alice Sinner appears yet again. I promise I didn't plan that.
Yeah. And her
But
name is misspelled in the first issue of the two. She has the unusual spelling of AlYce in the Arkham Reborn stuff and AlYce in the second issue, but it is misspelled as a traditional Alice in the first issue repeatedly.
I choose to believe that because she chose that name, that she just keeps changing it because, well, why not? And it also makes a lot of sense that Jeremiah didn't hire her. Harley did back when she was a doctor, but before she fully went Harley, essentially.
You know, Will, your rule about Gotham mayors being corrupt or incompetent, directors of Arkham are either insane or incompetent. I think that's the new rule there.
Yeah, that tracks.
Although we haven't seen Chase Meridian in a while, the current director of Arkham Tower, or at least she was the last time we saw a director of Arkham Tower. She
Do
was
we even
okay.
know if they're still in Arkham Tower?
Yes, because we saw that not too long ago. Bruce went there and talked to Joker in a jar.
Oh, that's right.
But Harley here, this isn't the worst Harley ever is. We still aren't touching Harley murdering large numbers of children like in that Villains Month issue. But she is cold. And the narration at the beginning points it out that she has put aside the funny parts of herself, and all she is rage here.
It's not just rage, it's just cruel. She brings 4 items with her that link to various people she's wanting to distract because she knows that it triggers some form of trauma, especially the rusty nail that she shows to Cash. Oh, God.
That one was painful, and that breaks him. Although I want to point out the Clayface one, it's like, no, I had a problem there only because you don't use crowbars in Batman stories. Those have another significance.
Yeah, that one.
And that was so talky. You did not have to have that much dialogue for that little vignette.
It's in character for Clayface, though.
And it really made me want to punch that director in the head.
Yeah.
Hey, time. Yeah, well, whatever your name is.
Although it does remind me, and we were talking a little bit about something like this off mic, but that guy and his, isn't that more raw? Isn't that more raw? It reminds me of a director at a theater I was working at where we were doing a production of Hamlet. And it's actually a production of Hamlet I was talking about off mic
Yeah.
that was misimagined to begin with. But they always let the entire staff sit down and let the director, of whatever new play we were doing, talk about his play and then ask some questions. And this guy was just going on and on in some of the most pretentious talk I'd ever heard. And this, again, I work in the theater, about how he was really basing his production on the text. The text is what's important. I'm like, okay, great. My degree is in English literature with a focus in Shakespearean studies. So I was like, all right, this guy's talking about the text. I have a very specific textual question about Hamlet, because the first folio and the first quarto have different versions of Hamlet's first great soliloquy. The opening line of that soliloquy is different in two places. One is, oh, if but this too sullied flesh would melt, yada, yada, yada. And the other is, oh, but would this too solid flesh? So there's a lot of debate about, okay, is this about suicide? Is it about, but this too solid flesh? Can I just end this? Or but this too sullied flesh about the corruption around him and in Denmark? This is an important textual question. So I ask him, and he stares at me as if I've got two heads. And there's like, I think I went with sullied. It sounds better. Are you kidding me? All you're doing is talking about the text mattering and this defining question about how you are viewing one of the greatest characters in literature is based around it sounds better?
Well, as we know, Matthew, it's best in the original Klingon.
I came onto this call very happy, and now I'm just really pissed off hearing about that guy.
I want to ask a quick question for the sake of Will Crisp. In your mind, what is the difference between a soliloquy and a monologue?
A soliloquy, by default, is not heard by any other character on stage. It is a character, for all intents and purposes, talking to the audience. A monologue is a long piece of speech that is not interrupted by others, but can be heard by other people on stage. All soliloquies are monologues, but not all monologues are soliloquies.
Interesting.
If you want some examples, for a soliloquy that's not a monologue, is Hamlet debating whether he's about to kill his uncle when he sees him praying. Now, if other characters could hear it, then obviously his uncle would hear him. Meanwhile, a monologue that can be heard by others, in As You Like It, the famous all the world's a stage and all of us merely players, that is being told to his audience. It's not something just for us.
Yes, those are two perfect examples. Art, I thought the way this story ends.
Oh, I actually love this, even if I disagree with the actual plot.
Yes, I think the style of it, the idea of it, of Harley, after Joker says he misses her first remembering in very, as photorealistic as the art gets, of the Joker being horrible to her, and then each of these 5 they're not splashes because they're more than one image, but these individual silent pages getting less and less realistic.
It's a collage of different events in our memories, and the further back she goes, the less focus there is. And by the time she gets to the one memory of the Joker being somewhat decent to her, it's in pretty much almost pencil sketch levels of detail, because it's not even clear if Joker is trying to kiss her. It's just Harley and Joker almost about to embrace. and she latches onto that one bit of feeling loved by someone, and that is enough to completely bring down all of our walls, all of our rage, and it is genuinely sad to see. And I wouldn't say it's bad writing, I just disagree with the direction of the story.
Yes. Am I glad that Harley is no longer Joker's easily manipulated, tragically broken, I don't know what even, sidekick? Yes, I am 100% glad that the character has evolved beyond that. Is there something sadly realistic about this period where Harley is still going back to him? Yes. I have heard some people say that one of the things that they appreciate about Harley as a character now is that there are people who've been in these kind of relationships and who've gotten out of them and see in Harley something that a representation that you don't get a lot in fiction, because usually the story is the person gets out of the relationship and that's the end of the story. So having Harley have an arc beyond getting over the Joker is important to them. And so while I understand there are people who want a rewritten Harley Quinn that removes the Joker as part of her origin, or that part of the relationship from their origin, I think that does a disservice to a particular marginalized part of society that doesn't often see representation. It's the same thing with, do I wish that maybe Barbara Gordon hadn't been fridged and made into Oracle in the way she was? Yes. But removing her as Oracle, taking her out of the wheelchair, I know a lot of people in the disability advocate community who were like, but wait, we have so few characters who represent this journey that removing that might remove a problematic story, but it also removes the good that comes from people feeling represented.
Part of the reason that this story in particular is so bleak is because in abusive relationships, you do see people going back to their abusers even after being hurt time and time and time again. And I have mixed feelings about the story because I'm glad it exists now because of where Harley is now, because it gives a little bit of flavor to her finally breaking out of the cycle. But when you're in the cycle, it's rough. And what's particularly important for this version of Harley is she's not a bimbo, she's not an idiot. Like certain runs we may or may not talk about later do try to classify her as an idiot, but Harley is a smart person, and there's a stereotype that, oh, if you stayed with an abuser, it's your fault, you're an idiot for going back. But that's not how it is. Abusers break people to the point where they are just as stuck in the cycle as anyone. It's got nothing to do with how intelligent you are. And the fact that Harley is so planned and calculated here and is genuinely determined to break out of this, and then all it takes is one, not even kind, just one comment from the Joker that implies some level of care is enough to bring her back into the cycle. It's heartbreaking.
It is. And I like how intelligent this story does present Harley, that she knows how to play this game. It's probably the most ruthless, the best take on Harley of the three stories today.
Matt, the listeners don't know that it's daylight outside.
Yeah, and with the next story, that's not a particularly high bar. So
no. Let's. I think. Sadly, I think we probably do need to move on to that, unless anyone has anything else particularly.
Last note on the art. As much as I love the way this ends with that collage of Harley's memories, I'm not so fond of every time she brings up an item to break someone, the panels being structured around that item. In particular, the one where it's structured around the rusty nail, which means that you've got a lot of text crowded around this nail and a lot of negative space serving no function. And then with the one with the marbles, oh, the panels flow into the marbles, except wait, do we read this left or right? No, we go this way. Oh wait, no, I've read this the wrong way. My eyes, I can't see.
Not
Hey.
everybody is Hayden Sherman.
Yes,
Only Hayden Sherman is Hayden Sherman.
I will agree with you on that most assuredly.
Oh, that means it's time. But Gotham City Sirens, number 20 to 21, Hell Hath No Fury on the big board.
We are at, can you believe it, 750 stories on the big board.
God damn, what a nice round number we're about to fuck up.
Number 1 is the post-crisis origin of Batman, Batman Year 1.
Still, at a sexy 69, it's Batman Annual number 4 from Volume 3 every day.
At 175, we have A Bullet for Bullock, the one-off where somebody's trying to kill Harvey Bullock. So, a Tuesday for Harvey. At 350, we have The Next Batman from the Future State events.
Coming in real high, not nearly as close to the bottom as it once was. At number 420, it's We Are Robin.
At 525 is the Batman Son of the Demon graphic novel, the sort of maybe kind of first appearance of Damian. And all the way at the bottom at 750, it's 3 Jokers.
Dog turd.
We're not in problematic territory. We are, while I don't think any of us are comfortable with what this does, it is actively trying to tell a story and make a point. Not a happy point, but a point that is real. So
It is competently made bleakness.
yes.
It is.
Story of the afternoon?
Probably. We all know which one is the lowest. It's the question of yeah. So, all right, let's start 600. Z as in Zatanna and 0 Hour. The first time Batman meets Zatanna from the Silver Age. Above or below there, Will?
Oh boy, we are starting about damn near the bottom.
I'm thinking it's above that, but I'm just starting there.
Right above that is Batman Red Death Ride the Lightning, which just doesn't do much of anything. This does do something.
Yes. All right, so let's jump to the next 100, which at 500 is the Batman and the Outsiders annual, where it's 1984. Hey, did I mention it's 1984? Because it's 1984.
That has some charm to it. I'm not sure it beats that.
Okay, I can see that. Right, then so in the middle at 550 is Polar Opposites, a Mr. Freeze animated series one shot where Freeze has to save Nora's second husband who's been kidnapped by that Walt Disney guy.
That's probably better.
Yeah, but I think we're getting closer. I'd put this above Eat Bang Kill Tour at 562.
Oh, Lord Almighty, yes. Probably put this above Pain and the Butler.
So that puts us in between 550 and 559. So we're in a real narrow range at this point. How about the new 553 in between Dark Claw Adventures and above the Werewolf from Krypton?
Yes.
Okay, 553. It is. Our second story of the night is Running with the Devil. This is Suicide Squad Volume 4, numbers 14 to 15. The writer is Adam Glass, with art by Fernando Dagnino, colors by Matt Yaki, letters by Jared K. Fletcher, and edited by Rachel Gluckstern and Ricky Purden. The cover dates are January to February of 2013. As the Joker returns from a year away, the faceless maniac makes a stop to get Harley to join him in his battle against Batman, taking her from the Suicide Squad. Joker has very particular thoughts on what Harley has done since he's been gone, and once she has done what he needs her to do, he has plans for her. Speaking of writers who started out at TV, we also have Adam Glass.
Welcome back to the show, Adam.
Yes, a week after his last appearance. But yeah, this one, oh, Doctor.
this entire run is... I started just reading this tie-in because I remember reading it back when it first came out, and I was so baffled by it that I did something I shouldn't have and went and read the entire New 52 Suicide Squad run, because how did we get to here? And then
Sam, why did you do that?
Yeah, I have a history of bad mental health, so in context, this should have been a sign that I need to get back on the meds. But on a serious point, though, I am deeply fascinated by this run, because you've talked before about how Red Hood and the Outlaws is another New 52 run that is just awful. This run is terrible, but each arc is awful for a completely different reason. And then when a new team, it changes the team several times for it, and those runs are also terrible, but in completely different ways.
There are so many things fundamentally wrong with the New 52 Suicide Squad. The almost foundational issue being its absolute horror show when it comes to its female characters.
Yes, it is genuinely an open question as to which of the female characters are treated worse in this, which, considering how Harley gets treated in these two issues, is quite the feat.
Because let's take, again, one of the few comic book characters of a body type that is not a very specific, super skinny body type, that is Amanda Waller, and immediately make her look like every other character. And when someone brings that up to, I believe, it might have been Dan Didio, Shock of Shocks, Dan Didio, saying something tactless, saying something to the effect of something about healthy body image and, portraying a character who's quote unquote fat, that's not good body image. So it was one of the editors. I think it might have been Didio, but I might be wrong on that. But I know it was someone arguing that this was an indication of, we want to present everyone in a healthy light.
Yikes.
The sad thing is that that's just the tip of the iceberg with the way Amanda Waller is written in this, because, oh dear God, what have they done? I mean, she doesn't appear much in this book, but the big problem that I had is they've written that just be A, an arsehole, and B, borderline incompetent. Because this starts with a funeral for Deadshot, who has died on the last squad mission. Don't worry about it, not important. But the funeral gets hijacked by the Joker, who paralyzes everyone and steals Harley away. And that raises the question of how the hell did it puts like the Joker break into... And then it's revealed, oh, no. Amanda Waller let the Joker get past their security because she's got Harley with these cameras in her contacts or something that will spy on the Joker so that she can find out more about the Joker. Why do you need to find out more about the Joker? It's not as if he's some superpowered bastion of amazingness. He's just a psychopath, a completely unpredictable one at that.
And don't forget, this is a Death of the Family tie-in, too.
So we are face-strapped on Joker, and it dances between the raindrops of the first two issues of Death of the Family, and ends with something that okay, so at the end here, I want to just kind of bring this to the beginning because it made me think about something.
Yeah.
Joker imprisons Harley in a room to starve to death with quote unquote his other Harleys. Do you take that as literally he has had other Harley Quinns or other just sidekicks and such that he has grown tired of and locked away?
I don't even take it that far. I think he's just trying to bring home the point of, you mean nothing to me because I have got all of these other people who were in my footsteps, but this Joker is also a lying liar who lies. Oh Christ, this Joker is possibly my least favorite version of any form of Joker.
Yeah, it's not
in
good.
The running, at least.
I think if I allow myself to journey down the road of multiple Harleys, my brain will split open and rot. I'm just going to assume that it's after you left, I kidnapped a bunch of people and put them in your costume, and it didn't really work out, so I killed them.
Don't forget, this is New 52, so at most, Joker's been active for 5 years.
I refuse to acknowledge that.
And this isn't even the same Joker that we see in the other Death of the Family tie-ins. This Joker seems to have a different methodology and insanity than that Joker does. All this stuff about his face being removed and removing the last of his humanity and having him be a being of pure instinct and all this, that's not anywhere else in any of the Death of the Family stuff. Matter of fact, that Joker is more of a planner than most other Jokers. He has his whole elaborate plan. He doesn't operate at all on instinct.
It's telling that one of the characters in this, Yo-Yo, describes the events happening to Harley as just torture porn, because the vast majority of this book is just the Joker assaulting Harley, putting a switchblade in her mouth, torture, killing her pets, Buddy and Lou, threatening to dump her in acid again, which incidentally, thank you again, New 52, for making Harley's acid bath another aspect of a characterization. Actually, I'm curious, do you believe that having Harley's skin bleached by the Joker is a bad direction for the character, or?
I did not like it when it happened. I've gotten so used to it at this point that I think writers have just made it so integral to the more modern characterizations. I never felt it was necessary, and it puts a hat on the hat of the abuse that Joker is about to do to her by having him start off immediately like
permanently maiming her.
Yeah,
because you can say, oh, it's a skin paint job all you want, but at the end of the day, she's permanently scarred by this, and even if she goes away from the Joker, she now has a permanent reminder on her body of the abuse and horror she went through, which, again, now that Harley is away from the Joker, that works, but in this, it's bad. Especially since in the stories leading up to this point, the writers just doubled down on Harley being obsessed with the Joker to the point that she went on a killing spree against all the lawyers who ever put the Joker away at the start of the run.
And the one other story from this run that we have covered is the Harley goes back to Gotham and gets the Joker's face story, which is ugh.
But I'm digressing from awful things outside of these comics when there's so much awful in these. Let's go with the art. Specifically, Harley Quinn and how her breasts boobily bounce as the Joker throttles her in the air. The fact that there's so much violence on Harley, and every frame it's her breasts, it's her lips in close up.
Were there two different colorists on this story?
No, there was. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that this was just one. But I might have also gotten to the point with fighting with the credits. But I was like, I'm good.
I was just curious because I swear to God, Harley's costume, at least to my eye, changed colors from the end of the first issue to the beginning of the second.
It did.
Okay, I wasn't insane.
No. At the very start of the issue, she is wearing a modified version as a morning dress, which is big billowing skirt, all in purple. And
no. I meant the end of that issue and the beginning of the second.
Oh, right,
no,
right.
It is the same exact creative team across both books.
Strange.
No,
I have this on hand. I need to check now. I promised I wouldn't look at this again.
and it's not radically different, but the shading is very different, again, from the end of the first to the beginning of the second. And it struck me as strange.
Just the
You're right. At the end of the first, it's the corset is black and white, whereas at the start of the second, the corset is mostly red. So at the end of the first, it's like red with dash.
No, it's amazing how slight changes made when Amanda Connor redesigns the costume, because it's still a two-piece in the Palmiotti and Connor run, but tightening the corset and making them shorts more like bicycle shorts changes the costume from just something that looks like it is from the 90s-est 90s comic to ever 90s into the costume that is basically the one used on the Harley Quinn animated series, that while still revealing it feels at least like it's more like gymnastics wear than the corset that is half undone that is the New 52 costume.
It's not only half undone, it's not even a full-size torso corset. She's wearing a corset that's supposed to go on top of a dress rather than... No. Trying to make sense of it only lies in madness.
Yeah. There are a couple of moments and lines in here that had the vibe of Garth Ennis at his most juvenile. The line when the Joker is talking about at Deadshot's funeral, where he wants to make someone suffer for Harley screwing around. He's like, you don't really care about Waller or Boomerang. What about your boyfriend in the coffin? Did he have a bris? I've been certified. It's like, really? That's just tacky.
It's just awful. Even though this is a Suicide Squad book, they don't really make appearances in this book at all. In the first issue, you get little flashes of them in their cells just as a sort of, don't worry, we remember these characters exist. But the only other Suicide Squad character that actually matters is Deadshot, who's ostensibly dead. But one of the key issues of this run, just from a fundamental point, is that it does not carry its stakes at all. At the start of this, Deadshot is dead. At the end of this, he's alive somehow.
Hooray!
Hell, even during this, we have the character of Yo-Yo menacing King Shark, because in a previous story arc, King Shark ate him alive. But he is alive now. Hooray. And throughout the entire run, this is a problem that is, even from the very beginning, the first issue, which is that trial Waller puts them through, and one of them ends up getting killed as part of the trial. He comes back later, and wouldn't you know it, the only characters who don't come back later are the only other two female members of the squad. What a shock.
I stand firmly behind a Suicide Squad series where characters actually die. You go back and you read that original Ostrander series. A character died. Guess what? They were dead. Years later, he brought back Rick Flag, but that was done in a really sort of clever way. And that was like 2 or 3 volumes down the line. That was not in that same first volume of Suicide Squad. And it was one of the problems with the the Rebirth era Suicide Squad is it was using the team from the movie. So they couldn't kill any of them because they were all established characters. Suicide Squad books need to be populated with 2 or 3 main characters and then half a dozen C-listers who you never are sure which of them is going to make it out of this thing alive.
And the greatest irony is, of all the versions of the Suicide Squad, this is the only one where I want all of them to die, and they never do.
Also, Deadshot doesn't have his mustache, and that's just wrong.
Yeah, but as you've said before, this is the least of the problems with the Deadshot, because he has that Villains Month issue.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
You must suffer as I have.
Oh, yeah. The New 52 origin of Deadshot is just... it's a lousy, lousy new origin. Ugh. This is mean-spirited in a different way than the first story. The first story was making a tragic and painful point, so was dark. This story, yes, Harley gets out of it in the end, but getting there through all of the on-panel violence is just ugly and mean.
Yeah, that's a big problem with Harley's characterization throughout this run. Even when there's some things that seem interesting on paper, it's just mean-spirited.
And Joker makes her kill Bud and Lou. That's just awful.
I'm assuming they weren't actually rabid?
No, they were.
No, because they do bite her, so she should have rabies.
Yes, but again, this is Suicide Squad, a book where plot points are introduced and dropped in the same issue, so expecting that to come up again is a fool's errand. So, fuck you for even considering it.
Fair.
But
Maybe Harley's just immune to rabies.
We know that Ivy had, well, we don't know if even Harley and Ivy had any kind of relationship, whether it be platonic or romantic at this point in the New 52, because you could have argued that the shots that Ivy gave her when they first met to allow her to be around Ivy did protect her from other diseases. But again, we're at a point where nobody was thinking about any of that.
the only thing I can say in this book's defense, and this isn't an actual defense, a lot of people hate on this run just because it made Harley obsessed with the Joker again, which was a bit of a backslide, to put it mildly. And yes, it is written awfully, terribly awful in this. But as the last story proved, they were starting to bring that back in the continuity beforehand. So this can't get all of the blame. What it can get the blame for is by turning up the abuse levels to a point that is so high that putting Joker and Harley back after this level of abuse and cruelty to the point of even killing her beloved pets and doing permanent physical damage, psychological torture, that it would arguably be actively harmful to the public at large to do a Joker Harley story after this in main continuity where they got back together permanently.
I think this is the closest to them getting back together
That's not to say that they won't interact again, but after this point, Harley is never as one note focused on the Joker as she is yet in previously again. She'll have her moments, but never to the point where it's the only aspect of her characterization.
That is the faintest of praise, but is the most we can give this thing.
There is one other thing which requires just a little bit of knowledge of issues 13 and 16, which is the one before and after this. So this is very much a book that was forced into an event that I'm pretty sure Adam Glass wanted no part in. So issue 13 ended with Deadshot shooting himself to get at their target and presumably dying. We have this story arc, and then issue 16 opens with Deadshot. Deadshot, you're alive. Yes, and this is how it happened. And then the rest of the book just picks up the story from where 13 left off. You can literally cut out these two issues, miss nothing of substance, and it is just...
Yeah, another classic example of why people hate crossovers.
Well, in this case, though, you can also say the same about the entire run, where you can just ignore it and miss nothing of significance. So,
yeah, pretty much all of these characters, when you get into Rebirth, nothing here is acknowledged. It's all reset back to a pre-New 52 status quo for pretty much all of them, up to and including King Shark being a great white and not a hammerhead again.
Have you got anything else to say about this? Because I've only got one more thing.
Please, you go ahead.
Going back to this being the series that had Harley's skin bleached by the Joker, it's handled terribly in this run and whatnot. But the animated Harley Quinn series actually did something interesting with that. And as it happens, you covered that on a bonus episode. So it's a bit early, but to plug the bonus pod, go to bonus episode 27 to have a look at a better version of this origin of Harley Quinn. And if you want to see Matt and Will talk about the whole series, that coverage starts from bonus episode 26.
Right.
Well, look at that. Plugs are so much easier when you don't have to do them yourself.
It was delightful to go back to them because I had to cleanse myself with some good Harley Quinn stuff after this.
Oh, and there was another thing that bugged me in this.
Matt, you're supposed to be done.
I am, but I want to point this out because this is something that we've talked about before. Joker in here, when he's talking about how Harley is really Harleen and that Harley is just a mask she puts on, he says something to the effect of, the chemicals didn't change you the way they changed me. I still stand by, those chemicals did not change him.
Oh, yeah.
That he himself, you just use the chemicals as an excuse. I'm like, no, that's you, buddy. You're the one who uses those chemicals as an excuse. Those did nothing to you other than bleach your skin. You were this guy waiting to come out all along.
Check out Audio Adventures for that story.
Yes.
I'm going to make a suggestion, if you don't mind. Down in the 700s.
Oh, we ain't even there yet.
Oh,
We're
but
not there yet, Sam.
Sorry. I am so sorry. I'm just so you got to forget this and never refer
Goodness.
to it again.
That means it's time to put Suicide Squad 14 to 15 running with the devil on the big board.
Now, Sam,
Right.
you have something you want to say.
Down at the 700s, you have Detective Comics 23.27, is it called? That is the Villains Month issue of Harley Quinn, which is where she bombed a bunch of kids and committed to being a full-on bimbo. Is this Harley Quinn torture porn better or worse than Harley Quinn character assassination?
I'm trying to see where that falls at this point.
Last time I checked, it was 709. So unless you've seen some truly awful stuff in the episode before this one, it should be around there.
I've got it at 731. Harley Lives.
It's gotten bumped down. It's gotten bumped down because everything is going above it. Yeah, I don't think anything has been put in below it. So that is at 731.
Oh, of course, that makes more sense.
And the other arc of this that we did, The Hunt for Harley Quinn, is up at 692. So it's above, but it's still real low.
Well, I definitely think that as awful as The Hunt for Harley Quinn is, that at least is trying to do something with the character. This is just gratuitous cruelty for its own sake. That doesn't even matter to the run at large.
Yes, agree. When we're this far down, it's like, oh boy, it's okay. I think we can safely say, well, one of our sort of bellwethers in this area, this goes below Robin and Batman, because that is at least competently done.
Ooh, that's a mean thing to say about a comic.
It is, but it's also true.
It's also well-deserved.
All right, does it go above or below Earth 1 at 732?
So right there's the pocket of Harley Lives and Earth 1 right there. Really good question, Sam, of putting this against that Harley Lives. Because there, Harley flat out kills a large number of small children for no other reason than to prove she's a villain.
Well, not just that, but also committing to a bimbo persona is its own level of character damage.
That's true as well.
Plus, the art in that is shit.
No, the art here isn't exactly high quality either, but yeah, I see your point. Oh boy. I think we might have a pocket of really bad Harley stories right around there. Here's an interesting question. 736, Cacophony. Cacophony has similar issues in its poor treatment of its female characters. With that last issue, the fridging of of Silver St. Cloud, all the Bruce. Okay, this goes above that. Because in there, you've got Batman like grabbing and like shaking Silver St. Cloud. Physical abuse of a partner is bad regardless. It's worse when it's Batman than the Joker. So that puts us above 736, above Cacophony.
I'd put this above Earth 1 for very similar reasons, because that's just such a loathsome book. I did not hate this as much as you guys.
On the other hand, Earth 1 was never canon.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
But again, I just hate this.
Well, if that's the case, I think we do move it, because you also actively hated Harley Lives. So this will go above Harley Lives simply because you hated it more than Harley Lives, and I'm back and forth on that.
Okay.
You know what? Okay, I think it's going to go. How about 730?
730?
Yeah, because Darker Than Death, that thing went on forever. This wasn't good, but this was 2 issues that read like 2 issues. That was 5 issues that read like 12. So new 730, I think.
New 730.
My parting thought on it is, imagine getting upset at the writing here, hearing that there's going to be a new creative team, and then going on to Harley Lives.
Ugh.
Oh, that was a dark time for fans of Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah. And our final story of the night is Crappily Ever After. This is Harley Quinn Future's End. The writers are Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, with art by Chad Hardin, colors by Alex Sinclair, letters by John J. Hill, and edited by Mark Doyle, Chris Conroy, and Dave Wielgus. The cover date is November of 2014. In a possible future, Harley Quinn is heading off on vacation, but a plane crash leaves her a castaway on an island ruled by the Joker. So, for those out there unfamiliar, Future's End was one of those months where DC put all of its books on hold and did a series of one-shots in their places, all of them set 5 years in the future, to tie in with one of their weekly series, the Future's End weekly series that was set 5 years in the future. These are never a good idea. These are an excuse for a lot of comic book readers to just skip a month of books and leave retailers with a lot of stock that they are never going to be able to sell. I just say this as someone who has been through that.
Speaking of the Future's End tie-in, this is one of the rare tie-ins that completely ignores that premise pretty much entirely, and arguably makes it the best Future's End tie-in.
Because that was not a great concept, and that was not a good month of comics. Oh no. Because this could have been set now. This could have been just a little one-off issue of this run of Harley Quinn. It's a Looney Tunes story.
Well, presumably Joker has to be missing for some time for this to happen. And you're right that this is a Looney Tunes story, because I felt like this is trite as fuck. Like, this whole idea has been just done to death. I was very bored with this.
It's a trifle, to be sure. I don't think it ever reaches the point of being terribly offensive, but it's playing with tropes, and it knows it's playing with tropes. So it is...
Well, aside from anything else, even compared to the rest of the Harley Quinn run, it feels like a backslide, because the whole point of Harley Quinn's run is she's broken off from the Joker.
I kept expecting, and again, I read this once when it first came out. I kept being like, okay, this is going to wind up being a dream or something, right? She got conked on the head when the plane crashed, and all of this is going to be a dream.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if she made friends with a volleyball? That'd be funny.
It was a soccer ball. They couldn't do a volleyball because that would be copyright infringement.
And even Harley dismisses it as soon as she has the idea. No, not a good idea. Besides, why go with the volleyball when we have beloved character, the beaver head that she carries around?
Yes, Bernie the beaver.
Bernie, yes. I am terrible with the names of characters that are ultimately insignificant. They just don't stick in the head.
Bernie, for some reason, does stick in my head. I'm not complaining, but that is a thing that I would not have been surprised if they had hung some kind of lampshade on in the Harley Quinn animated series. They have Bernie there, and Harley be like, this is just a dumb idea, and then get rid of the beaver that she's talking to.
I wouldn't be surprised if he appears like in the background of the apartment somewhere. Like, obviously, this is a trifle, but I want to start by going over things that I actually like. First off, definite improvement of what Harley has been over the last year and a change. Yes, we're starting with the low praise, but with Bernie the Beaver being Harley's essentially inner monologue to herself, since it's just a delusion has, the fact that Bernie the Beaver, as soon as the Joker comes on scene, is telling Harley, this is a mistake, this is a bad idea, don't do it, indicates that even though this is a very Looney Tunes story, even this Harley Quinn, in some part of her mind, knows, no, this is bad for me. And that's worth reminding the reader of, especially considering just how awful their relationship is. And also, this ends with confirmation that, no, the Joker doesn't love Harley and will happily abuse and try to kill her again just for his own benefit. And there is no reason to go back to this well. We are done. This is it. I don't care that the Joker now has a pretty face, well, not pretty, but normalized face again. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. There is no way to make this relationship work. There's too much baggage.
I never will countenance an interpretation of that relationship where the Joker gives any damn about Harley as anything other than something he can use.
Precisely. And that is true for the entirety of the story. There's not even the hint that, like, even the fact that they're going to get married, that's literally just some of the tribesmen on this island assuming, oh, this is the bride for our god, and the Joker just running with it, because if I don't sacrifice Harley, they're going to throw me in the volcano. So
it's interesting because the previous story, at the beginning, I felt like Glass was doing it right, but then at the end, with Waller saying something to the effect of, no, he actually does care about her. It's like, no.
yeah.
The thing about the first issue of that previous story, and God knows, going back, I don't want to spend more than a moment, but Joker's issue with Harley and getting on with Deadshot is not that Harley cares about someone else, is that she's his possession and she has no right to show interest in anyone else.
Yeah, the one thing that reads true about that version of Joker is him referring to Harley as his toy. She's not even a person to him, it's just something that he can use. And how dare someone else use Joker's toys?
Yes.
While I'm saying, oh, the Joker loves her, really, that is just exhibit 20 in 5,700 of why this version of Amanda Waller is also an idiot on top of being incompetent and an arsehole. So I wouldn't put much stock in it.
There is not a ton to this particular story. This also feels like, oh, we have to take a month off of the story we actually want to tell to do this crossover. So let's just be as goofy as we can. We're not going to take this crossover event seriously. We're not going to do a dark, dystopic future story like everyone else is, because Future's End is a bleak cyberpunk future that ends with Tim Drake as Batman Beyond, which don't even get me started about that whole thing.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, Future's End was not good.
Which again, as I said at the start of this is the best Future's End tie-in by default.
That's a low bar.
Yeah,
you have no idea how low. There is an omnibus that collects all of the Future's End tie-ins, and it is some dire reading.
In Future's End, the core miniseries itself was there to set up Convergence, so that just a not great weekly series leading into a less great event miniseries. Oh boy, these were dark times. These were dark times.
And then shortly after Future's End, we get Villains Month.
I will say though, Matt, I do like how you accused Paul Miotti and Connor of malicious compliance. That was nice.
It's the only thing I can think of, because it literally does not touch any of the overarching stuff in Future's End. Every other one of these books was so bleak. I'm just looking at a list. Actually, it might be the second best, because there was a Dan Jurgens Booster Gold one in here that I remember enjoying, because it was Jurgens still trying to tell the Booster Gold stuff that he was working on sort of throughout all of this.
But again, that follows the philosophy of, if at all possible, ignore Future's End. So
no. Any crossover where the whole main story basically is, what if Brother Eye became Skynet and Terry McGinnis was Kyle Reese? That is the core underlying plot of Future's End.
Biggest sin of Future's End is that it is something, and yet it is both long and boring.
Oh, is it ever?
Boring. Point is, Will, don't judge this run of Harley Quinn based on the Future's End tie-in. With what they had to work with, this is...
Yeah. This is the same run that has the enjoyable 25 big ones, where when Harley is in Arkham for another reason, she does get to beat the crap out of the Joker and officially tell him we're through, and then has a lovely example of Harley and Ivy's non-monogamous relationship and a valid discussion of compersion between Ivy and Harley's boyfriend's mom, an issue that I really like for various reasons. And the art here is the best art of the night.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Chad Harden does a good job with this series. This is a comic that if you can turn off your brain and just be like, I'm just going to read this thing and it's going to be wacky.
Yeah.
Then
just go with the vibes.
Then it's better than pretty much anything else we got. It is in no means malicious.
Just due to the nature of this one, there's not much else to say. I mean,
Yeah.
So I will say, the fact that it ends with Harley being rescued by Aquaman, a bit of a non sequitur, but also implies that somehow all of the Future's End stuff got resolved off page somehow, and I can choose to believe, yep, that's how it ended. That's definitely how it ended.
It reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons, where it's a Lord of the Flies parody, where the kids wind up on an island and they wind up finding a wild boar and killing it and eating it, and then the episode ends with, and the children were saved by, let's say Mo.
Exactly.
And that's the end of this. And here's Aquaman saving the day.
I'll take it.
It ends the story. And I think ends our discussion of it.
Oh, that means it's time with Harley Quinn Future's End #1, Crappily Ever After on the big board. I am convinced after the discussion that this goes above Running with the Devil, but again, I did not care for this at all.
Okay.
I'm a grumpy old man.
That's fair. I mean, I think
I was wheel sweepy when I was weeding and I needed a nap.
All of my praise sounds like that, but my positives are, this is the least bad of the Future's End tie-ins, and it's better than Running with the Devil. So that isn't being hot on a story, Will. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in the 600s. I mean, I don't think this makes it out of the 600s. Currently,
I think this is safely above Golden Dawn at 685.
Oh yeah. 650 is Batmite's New York Adventure, which is real trifly.
It might not beat Robin Lives at 637. Not that that was anything, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't beat, even right below that, Grim Knight. I mean, Grim Knight isn't great, but there's at least some cachet to what they do with the Grim Knight there.
I'd put this above your generic Anarchy story at 647.
I would put it in between Batman Adventures Annual 2 at 644 Demons, which at least has some really gorgeous Bruce Timm channeling Jack Kirby art, and above Legends of Dark Claw, which is just one of the more nonsensical of the amalgam books, and one that probably should have been better than it was.
So the new 645.
Yes.
Well, Sam, it wasn't your best showing.
Well, I did promise that I was willing to dive into the shit, and, well, I delivered, I think, on that promise.
Wickham-esque it was.
I actually was thinking of things for next time I'm here, and I'm going to have to make revisions because I can't do another one of these so shortly after that. I need something that I like.
And we appreciate that, believe me. But that does do it for this week. Next week, we're tying into the recently debuted Lanterns TV series with 3 stories where Batman teams up with one Green Lantern or another. Remember, you can support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/batchat with Matt and Will, where you can get shout-outs, bonus content, pick a story, and even come on the show. We'd like to thank those Patreon backers: Dan Grote, Josh Wheel, Mrs. Abigail Hartbaum, Asma Fangirl, Tony Thornley,
Go Aggies,
Sam Hopper.
Hey, that guy. Go to bed, Sam. It's still like 9 o'clock over there.
John Wickham.
John, you beautiful bubby, you.
Tim Rooney. Giorgio Sorrigioli. David Wheel.
World's greatest gray belt.
Alexander Wheel. Matt McThorne.
McThorny.
Dan Offer.
Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
Nate Randell. Daniel Mosley. Ross Holmes.
Mr. Random Ace.
Will Crisp.
Me compadre. We'll get to the bottom of the difference between a soliloquy and a monologue eventually.
Carlos Cordova. Jordan Jennings. Charlie Etheridge Nunn. Sean Shambly. The Final Wraith.
The scariest wraith.
Kyle Still.
Still the one.
Carolyn Smith.
Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba.
And Elle the Kaleidoscope Man
I see such wonderful things.
for their support. This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music/Audible, YouTube Music, Podbean, and on comicsxf.com, where new episodes drop every Thursday. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I talk about comics and other random things, and Letterboxd, where I review all the movies I watch, both at MattLaz1013.
You can find me on The Good Place and The Bad Place and in many other places at Will Nevin. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. It's only 4 o'clock, Matt. I can't go to bed. Suppose I'll go to the gym, I suppose. But eventually, good night, Huntsville.
And be sure to visit ComicsXF at comicsxf.com or ComicsXF on Blue Sky for our weekly Friday Batshot roundup of new Bat books, for my other show, the ComicsXF Interview Podcast, where my longtime best friend Dan Grote and I interview comics creators, retailers, publishers, journalists, and other related tradespeople, as well as all the other stuff Will and I are writing. And stay safe out there, folks. Gotham is not a place to be after dark.